Tonight, it's the latest in a string of viral videos capturing what many feel is casual racism, burning up social media and grabbing outraged headlines. They all begin with a non-threatening encounter, then the escalating discomfort, and many ending with a phone call to police. Can these conflicts be avoided? Here's ABC's Lindsay Davis.
When it comes to people accused of everyday racism, the internet has no mercy.
I'm being followed and harassed, that's what's up. With two white kids being with one black male.
No,
It's suspicious.
Doling out viral nicknames.
You can film all you want.
Intended to brand any perpetrator forever.
Call the police on him for having a barbecue.
Stephanie Sebi Strempel, arrested for assaulting a black teen in a community pool,
Get out now!
became Pool Patrol Paula. Her attorney later saying there are two sides to every story.
Get out!
And Allison Edel, who called the police on an 8-year-old girl selling water, now known as Permit Patty.
Illegally selling water without a permit?
Edel later saying she regrets the way she handled it. And now, just this past week, Teresa Klein became Cornerstone Caroline.
Cornerstone Caroline.
When she accused a 9-year-old boy of groping her at this Brooklyn corner store. Surveillance footage would later prove her wrong, clearly showing it was the boy's backpack that accidentally grazed her. But outside of the store, she confronted the boy and his family, saying she's calling the police.
I want the cops here right now.
The boy, Jeremiah, terrified of going to jail, sobs outside the store. His mother, aghast. One witness, Jason Littlejohn, immediately began filming.
Make her go viral.
I knew something wasn't right, and then that's when I pulled out my phone and then started recording. After that, I saw little Jeremiah crying.
Don't cry, little man.
And that was the saddest thing of my life, to ever see a little kid like that crying.
After viewing the surveillance footage, the woman apologized to the boy.
But I'm sorry.
But for Littlejohn and many others, sorry is not enough.
I gave her the name, it's Corner Store Carolyn, and I was like, please make this go viral, you know, just the world had to see what was going on.
Littlejohn's video viewed more than 7 million times in 6 days.
Corner Store Carolyn.
There is racism going on everywhere around the world. It's not just in the South, it's not just Midwest, it's happening even in Brooklyn, New York.
Littlejohn views his phone as a tool for justice.
Being a black man in America, right now your phone is your biggest weapon, you know? You need that, because just in case anything happens, you have to have some kind of proof. So much stuff going on right now, especially as you can see in all the viral videos.
These videos are so ubiquitous that there's a hashtag, #LivingWhileBlack, to describe the prejudices that pervade everyday lives. Just this week, Hillary Brooke Mueller tried to block De'Arion Tolles from walking into his own luxury apartment building in downtown St. Louis. He immediately began filming.
I don't like the fact that you're blocking me for where I pay.
All I'm asking is what unit?
But you're not, I don't need to tell you that information, ma'am.
If you want to come into my building.
It's not your building. You're not the owner. You're not security. You're not the property manager. You're not
No,
Mike
but
Herman.
I live here.
When he ultimately moves past her,
No.
Excuse me.
No.
Excuse me.
Are you kidding me?
she gets in the elevator with him
No, I want to know who you're going to see.
and then follows him to his apartment.
You just follow me all the way to my door.
As a player.
And you see my keys in the door.
And it made me feel really uncomfortable, made me feel less of a human, and I feel like I was being judged.
Hillary Mueller defending her actions, telling Fox 2 Now she was merely trying to follow the condo's guidelines for residents.
So when I noticed an individual that I did not know, my only intent was to follow the direction that I've been given by our condo association board members repeatedly, and that is to never allow access to any individual that you do not know.
The Living While Black hashtag exploded after perhaps the most publicized of these events occurred back in April.
They didn't do anything. I saw the entire thing.
When 2 black men were arrested in a Philadelphia Starbucks after a manager called the police on them while the men were waiting on a potential business partner.
Hi, I have 2 gentlemen at my cafe that are refusing to make a purchase or leave.
They weren't doing anything, you know, like violent or angry. They were basically like perp walked out of the store and put in a police car.
How long were you in custody?
About 8 hours.
8 hours?
Yeah, there was no reasoning. They had nothing. You know, they just kept using defiant trespassing as their excuse for putting us behind bars.
The bias that we saw on that Starbucks tape is not isolated to coffee houses. Black and brown people all across the country in every aspect of social life experience this type of inequality. This is why people call the police on us more quickly. All of these things are part of the kind of implicit biases that people have against black and brown bodies that see them as more dangerous, more criminal, less moral, and more likely to commit a crime.
After that Starbucks incident, the company mandated anti-bias training for their 170,000 employees.
You were part of the training after Starbucks. What were your recommendations?
We co-created the curriculum for Starbucks when they shut down the stores on May 29th. What we built into that training was a set of practices that would help people. We were trying to find like the stop, drop, and roll with respect to racial anxiety, right? That how do you stop and pause and really kind of ask yourself a series of questions that would help you understand how bias is operating.
Johnson says we're all carrying bias.
We're not as colorblind as we purported to be. It's sometimes, even if you have the best intentions, it's hard to override your automatic response to them. So awareness can only take you but so far. You really have to have a set of strategies.
There was, of course, this infamous case in Oakland, California.
Is there a reason why we're calling the police?
When this woman, dubbed Barbecue Becky, called the police on a family hosting a barbecue in a public park.
It's illegal to have a charcoal grill in the park here.
No, it's not actually. I just looked at the map. It says this is a designated barbecue area.
This past week,
I'm babysitting, right? Y'all see, look, I got 2 kids in the backseat with me.
Corey Lewis, a black babysitter, was watching 2 white children in Georgia when an unidentified white woman approached them in a Walmart parking lot.
Her pulling up to my vehicle, asking if the kids were all right, in which I responded with, why wouldn't they be?
Supposedly concerned for the children, the woman called 911.
I rode around again and I said, let me see the little girl. He goes, no. And I said, well, let me just see the little girl and just see if she knows you.
Lewis records live as police pull him over.
What's up, man?
I'm being followed and harassed, that's what's up.
Some of these videos have had real-world consequences. The woman who blocked a man from entering his own apartment, she lost her job.
Some employees might say, well, free speech matters, and so I should be able to say whatever I want to. The First Amendment certainly protects you to do that. It does not guarantee you a job.
But for some, erasing centuries of institutional racism won't happen overnight.
It's really impossible to train people not to be racist or to get rid of their implicit bias in one day, 1 week, or 1 year. But what you can do to start things is to at least get employees to recognize that they have biases. Not just white people, all of us have biases, because to be honest, many black managers and black employees would have done the same thing if 2 black men came into Rittenhouse. So we need to find a way to get people to recognize that we all have racial blind spots, we all have gender and class blind spots, and we all have work to do to end any kind of discrimination.
Back in New York, Jason Littlejohn said his decision to hit record has turned him into an activist.
I'm going to keep fighting for justice for Jeremiah.
At a community rally last night, Jeremiah had an impassioned plea for us all.
Friendship is really the key.
For Nightline, I'm Lindsay Davis in New York.